So, hundreds of years ago, in some cases, thousands of years ago, in places all around the world, different cultures would pass on ideas and teach lessons through storytelling. The elders or more enlightened people, whatever, would tell the young these over the top tales to try to instill in them some sort of message or to pass on um, cultural heritage. If we look specifically where I am here in America, many of the indigenous tribes would tell these stories around a campfire or on a grassland, and the stories would most of the time have to do with our relationship to nature. And a lot of times they were really over the top and personified things in a way that we could empathize with them, more effectively. This was done intentionally. And I'm just going to make an assumption here and say that they didn't have the level of, special effect potential that maybe we do now. I don't think there was CGI. The level of effectiveness with which they could tell these stories was entirely dependent on the level of charisma that they had and just their willingness to, make fools out of themselves and not feel bad about it. If you cut to where we are now, you see that being a storyteller has evolved in ways that we could have never imagined, but it's also been complicated in ways that we wouldn't have thought about. Specifically in that we have these devices here that can document our storytelling real time, and we can use them to show to people all over, and we could take them all over, and we can record in different places all over. So now the possibility of creating stories that are more immersive, are way more feasible. So now with this device, you have an opportunity to capture all of this beauty, use all this variety of scenery as your backdrop to tell, your story, except when you realize you need a permit to film in like 80% of the places. And that can be really discouraging. My response to that is don't give a fuck. I know it's not that simple, right? You can't just film anywhere you want. Places have security. Places will kick you out, throw trespassing charges at you. But the idea here is that if you see a place that, you feel like nobody's going there ever, you don't see any signs that say you can't film there, and maybe it's like a little like behind a building that is like kind of abandoned or whatever, and you think it'd be a good location, just shoot there. Just shoot there. Who cares? Do it. It's better to ask for forgiveness than permission at that point. It's not like, okay, it's not like I'm not telling you to go over there and destroy everything. Well, if somebody comes and they see you trying to film a film there, worst comes to worst is they'll tell you, oh, you can't do that. You got to go. Right? It's not, they're not going to like ruin your life because you decided you wanted to make a little short film on a backdrop that is clearly going to look cool for a building that they're barely using. Fuck them. It's like you're making a film. You're telling a story. This is not like, I'm tired of acting like you're committing a crime. You're not. These are not curses. They're gifts. Listen to what he said. You have a gift of creativity, and you're trying to make something. Don't feel bad about that. And, it's not going to hurt you if you want to do a little bit of research on your location and see, maybe hop on Reddit and see if any other filmmakers or photographers or whatever have gone to this area, and if they say anything about security bothering them or there being a lot of other people there getting in your way, like that won't hurt. But don't just look it up and then go off of whatever the AI summary gives you, because that's a little horse shit. I do enjoy a little bit of the risk, though. Kind of just going there and being surprised. It's usually worked in my favor. I haven't had any issues with like really being kicked out of places biggest thing that you should take into consideration and go try to check out before you really try to film anywhere is if there's maybe like really like loud noises around that you didn't take into consideration. Like if it's by a building and there's like a really loud air conditioner, that might get annoying. But if you're really worried about filming someplace you don't have permission to film at, then go and like utilize public spaces. Now, if you utilize a public space, then a lot of times there comes a different issue, and that is like, us as creators and filmmakers, we get shy and we worry about, going in other people's space and, being rude and ruining someone's day. Like, okay, again, you're making a film. You're not trying to, you're not trying to like sell them a pyramid scheme. You're not like you're pranking people. You're not bothering people. Like, okay, you scream a little bit in public. You wear some goofy costumes and people look at you weird. Okay, you're not going to ruin their day. If anything, 9 times out of 10, when you film in public, people will look and you're doing something goofy and they'll laugh, and then they'll talk to their family and friends about it, and they'll say, oh, the weird thing happened today, or they'll ask you, hey, what are you doing? And sometimes they'll be like, oh, where can I find wherever this is going to be? Or you might get an opportunity, believe it or not. They might be like, oh, you're a filmmaker, or you do videography. I need videography for this or that. Like, this is coming from experience. Like, I've had this happen to me. And a lot of like determining if you can reasonably do something is how you write the script. If you write the script with a location in mind that that you can use, it's going to be a lot easier to do it. Another big thing with indie filmmaking locations is it's all about who you know. If you know, like, utilize, and I'm not saying it in the way like, I'm not saying it like nepotism. You got to like have all these super wealthy people in your pocket to get, no. I'm saying like, we all know people, right? If you're even kind of social at any point in your life, you know somebody who is a link to some place that you can potentially use to film, right? If you go to a local restaurant all the time, and they know you and they know your family, and you have a pleasant discourse with them from here and there, then there's no reason you can't be like, hey, I was wondering, I have a short film that I'm working on that I need a restaurant for. Could I use this location? And 9 times out of 10, they'll be willing to work something out with you. They'll say, okay, we're not working at this point. We come in here to set up in the morning for a couple hours, or we're closed at night for a couple hours. You have a little time to use it then before people come in here. Boom, there you go. You can make it work. One example. Another example is school. I mean, if you went to college, or even like high school is acceptable too, you can talk to whoever's in charge of the school and ask to use, gymnasium, this or that. I utilize my college still to this day, and I don't feel bad about it at all, because like I spent all this money and getting my bachelor's there, and I'm still fucking broke. So they owe me. But now I'm going to full circle, bring it all the way back to what I was saying in the beginning about how the indigenous people of America would rely mostly on their own charisma and an ability to make fools of themselves to tell stories. And they didn't have a lot, at their disposal in terms of everything else. We can learn from that now, use what you have, use what you have at your disposal, what you're willing to turn into something else and accentuate to bring your, vision to life. If that means going into your room and putting blackout curtains all on the walls and clearing all the space out and turning it into an interrogation room, hey, that works. If it works, it works. Or maybe if the idea is so crazy that you can't like really do anything to substitute it, you factor that into the idea and you turn it into maybe something that's more about the pursuit of a creative, trying to bring their idea to fruition rather than the idea itself. I don't know. I'm getting a little existential here, but you get the idea. You could play a drinking game for how many times I said idea and storytelling in this video.